So, I really like this wine, It's really, it's got just a beautiful spicy character to it.
And is that's because of the Gewürztraminer, correct?
Probably. And also maybe the Muscat too.
Okay.
Muscat has got this big thing going on. Anyway, so here we are. So we're in our backyard. Welcome everybody. And we're at J. Ricard's Winery. And this is the Brad and Dinner with Brad and Jim show.
Yes.
And we're doing our summer finale here. It's going to be, we have our friends and family winery behind us. Hi, everybody. Yay.
Hello. We got a nice big audience today.
Yeah, we do.
It's very nice.
And that's the idea. The idea was to talk about barbecue, talking about things that you would do outside and pair the wines to go with.
Absolutely.
And we kind of took a left turn, and the left turn wound us in salmon land. And because Eliza's from Washington State,
Yep.
where that's what they do. And she has just enormously good recipes to go with all this kind of stuff. And so
that's getting ready to go there.
I'm just finishing up this.
Let him take a look at that real quick, and then we've got a couple things. Welcome to the Zoom. If anybody has any questions, please chat them in, and our lovely Miss Alex will answer your questions or let us know about the questions. And I believe there's also a little button in the Zoom. Get ready for, speaking of Zoom, we've got all sorts of great things going on here. But so if you have any questions, please, and Miss Alex will take care of those. Well, Jim's working with that. We're going to have all of our videos up for you guys to take a look at. All right, this looks dangerous over here.
No, it just
actually not dangerous.
Mitts.
It looks fantastic.
Oh
my God, that's
gorgeous.
That lovely?
Yes.
So all of our videos will be up and ready to go by this Friday. So if you be
look
practicing.
At that.
Holy smokes.
Can you see that?
Jim,
all right?
That looks fantastic.
I think so.
Holy mackerel.
I think it is good.
All right.
All right.
And along with the bacon wrapped shrimp was actually the one we're going to try to help people out and do it 3 different ways. Some of my friends were saying that it was hard to get the shrimp wrapped with the pre-cooked bacon, and their biggest problem was their bacon was a little bit too thick. So I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on how to make sure that your shrimps get cooked properly and your bacon gets done as well. All right, that sounds fantastic. So what's our...
So let's have a seat.
Let's have a seat. I think we've got some chicken on the plate already over here.
Ozzy has made his famous jerk chicken. So come on, Ozzy, tell us about it.
And actually, I'm going to try to... JJ, can we see the presentation here?
Hello, everybody.
Closer. Let me know. There we are. All right, Ozzy, what do we have here, buddy?
So we have jerk chicken. So I grew up in London, in case none of you knew that, and in case it isn't very obvious. And so a dish or a food that we have a lot in the UK is Caribbean food, is Jamaican food. So it's kind of equivalent. We have Indian food and we have Caribbean food, sort of equivalent to what you guys would have as Mexican food. It's everywhere all the time. So I grew up eating jerk chicken, which is kind of a spicy, very aromatic chicken. It's smoked usually, but it's kind of hard to do that over here. You smoke it with actually pimento wood, which you can't source over here, I don't think. So this is sort of a version that leaves that out. So it's a lot of different spices: nutmeg, allspice, Chinese 5-spice, scallions, onions, all blended together, marinated, and then grilled. And it's just delicious, super aromatic, super kind of spicy, warming and rich, and hopefully not too spicy. And I think we've paired it today with the GVM,
right,
which I'm very excited for.
Exactly. Now you tasted it up the other day, right?
I did actually. I tasted it last night, in fact.
And you know, it's GVM is our blend of I believe this batch is 40% Gewürztraminer and 30% Viognier and 30% Muscat Blanc, and it varies a little bit from time to time. But the thing is I have this weird sense that I can taste all 3 at a time, and I can kind of pick it apart. But I don't know that I can. But I just say that. Sounds good.
I think you can. I think you can absolutely get the Gewürztraminer in here, and the Viognier I think is really driving that finish, and the Muscat is kind of like that middle. you know, bringing those two wines together.
Well, I'm gonna let you guys get on with the chicken.
All right.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Oh man.
All right, he definitely minded the spice. It's not too spicy, but all of those other spices that aren't hot spice is in there. I'm definitely
man.
getting a lot of Chinese 5 spice.
Oh man, that's really good. I like that. You know, I need some more of those. That GVM is really particularly good with it. It really brings out the flavors and kind of moderates the heat, capsaicin, leaving the spicy. You can taste the spices now.
Yeah, you really can. Wow. Chicken's just absolutely fantastic. And this would be one of those real complementary pairings. Where the chicken and the spice has all of its intensity. This wine is kind of elevating that a little bit for me, and mitigating the heat a little bit.
Yeah, and that's what I like. What I like. Oh, is that you know the wine smells sweet, but it's as dry as can be.
Dry.
Yeah, and you know, it's what it does is it changes the sense of the spiciness to me.
Mm-hmm. And all the spiciness actually, I think, brings the Viognier out a little bit more for me.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little bit more of that honeysuckle, where
Oh.
before it was more on the pear side for me. The you know, that really nice rich pear. This is bringing up some of the honeysuckle on the aromatics.
Yeah.
Reducing the spiciness of the wine and allowing this, and then actually it elongates the finish. The chicken is elongating the finish.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yep. Well,
That is great.
The grapes actually come from Dry Creek Valley, except for the Muscat. I grow the Muscat. Yeah.
What part of Dry Creek is the Gewürztraminer in?
Well, actually,
Or is that down?
that's down the mouth of the river there, right?
Okay.
Actually, it's Russian River. Excuse me.
Or just near it?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's right at the mouth at where the confluence of Dry Creek hits the Russian River,
Okay.
and that's where the Gewürztraminer comes from. Now the Viognier actually is in Dry Creek, up further, but still towards the southern end, where you get a lot of that, you know, good weather, fog.
The fog can come around.
Yep.
The heat staying up at the end of the valley.
Yeah.
Where you're still getting that the big variance in temperatures. Those the cooling down of the of the fog coming through in the evening.
Absolutely, and you know the Muscat, you know,
Wow.
it comes from I grow the Muscat here, and it is actually from our old vineyard. I've actually, what I did years ago was, you know, because I do my own grafting, I grafted vines out of the old vineyard, and out there is Muscat. We all know that our old vines inn has 1% Muscat in it, and so what I did was I cultivated. I have, you know, a little block that we choose that we get our Muscat from, and that's where I make our regular Muscat Blanc from. But also, it's the additive to this, and Muscat, you know, being a Mediterranean variety, does well up here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but you know, Muscat is a very maligned grape. I mean, everybody thinks Muscat needs to be wrapped in a brown paper bag and drank next to a dumpster, right? Well, it's true. Everybody knows that, you know, right? However, it can make some of the most delightful, lovely wines anywhere. And certainly, this is a great example of that.
Yeah, it's not the grape that has a problem. It was the winemaking processes and the winemakers that were making it into a $1.50 a gallon wine versus something that had some interest and some character, and in leaving an enormous amount of residual sugar in there to cover up their poor winemaking and probably poor growing.
Yeah.
So it just ended up being the sweet, uninteresting wine. But no, Muscat, fantastic. Another one of the uh, for my Zinfandel, my Dry Creek Zinfandel, there's about a 0.5% to 1% white and red
Mhm.
Muscat
Yeah.
in there, and that even that little teeny bit just develops the aromatics. And well, and as we all know, the white wine enzymes are helping extract, so we get a little bit of extra
Actually,
color.
one of the things is you know, in all our old vineyards, like our vineyard, it's typically Muscat is around 1/2 to 1%.
Mhm.
And you know, people always look at us and say, "You can tell the difference between 1% and not." And the answer is, can you tell the difference between a pinch of salt and a tablespoon?
Yes.
And the answer is, of course you can. And what they were after, I believe, is the aromatics. It acts as a carrier
Mhm.
for bringing out flavors. We use 1% co-fermented 1% Muscat in our Petit Syrah.
Yep.
That's where the aromatics come from. That I think, and certainly they knew that many years ago
Mhm.
when they were, planting this stuff.
Does it taste like more?
I think it tastes just like one. Now, the other thing, Jim, this is a I just thought about the question as they were planning it through. Do you think that also protected them from a cold year as well, in case they didn't get the ripening that they wanted, that that the Muscat would ripen, and they were going to get enough sugar, or
No.
is it just about the aromatics
No. Personally,
and maybe some extraction with a white grape, in with red?
right. I think that they were after the aromatics.
Okay.
They're not much there. The thing is that, in an old vineyard, their objectives were hard to know, but we know a couple of things. We know that Zinfandel needs to be good and ripe, right?
Yes.
We also know that the acidity for Zinfandel plummets, and as it gets riper. And so we know that they added Carignan, Mataro, because those are later ripening varieties. But what's significant about them is they don't have a lot of green characters in the skins. So adding little bags of acid.
Yep.
Well, they were adding, I think, the Muscat Blanc, Moscato di Canelli is the 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 term that they called it up here. Yep. And they, I think they were after the aromatics.
Okay.
I really do.
It makes sense to me. Especially with as the Zinfandels are getting riper and riper and jammier, and kind of more of a one note flavor there, to have that nice background, a more full bodied aromatic to the Zin. I love it with it.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and I think that when you get these what I call the aromatics,
Mhm.
the group of grapes that are typically, Viognier, Muscat, Gewürztraminer, Rieslings,
Yep.
and people have a misguided feel for these kind of things because they always expect them to be sweet,
Right?
And yet they can all be made really delightfully dry, and as a lovely wine. And I think that those aromatics
Mhm.
add a lot. In Rhone, what do they add to Syrah? Viognier.
And that can be sometimes like 6% out there.
Why?
Two reasons. The white enzymes are going to extract some color out of their anemic little grapes that they have up there. And it's, sorry, France, I love you so much. And Viognier's aromatics are just absolutely fantastic.
Correct. And that's the deal. It's adding it. Northern Italy, you're adding Muscat to Nebbiolo and those varieties for the same reason. They
The
weren't
Nebbiolo is much smaller grape, high acid, so it's probably doing a couple different things there, but bringing out those aromatics. And so even though the Viognier aromatic might be a jasmine or a honeysuckle, you're not going to get that out of the little bit that's in the red grape. It's just going to enhance the cherries or the plums, the blackberries. So you won't notice that a white wine character in the red wine, but it's absolutely doing a lot of work in the
They're
background.
adding a carrier.
Yeah.
They're not adding their own aromatics. They're
Right.
adding because they're so powerfully. At least that's my belief.
I agree
My
100%.
belief is that. So, um, well, I guess we could move on.
Are we ready for the next?
I don't know.
That sounds good. What should we do? How's there?
Bring your plate.
All right,
Okay.
here, you sit down. I'll bring them up. And what's the next wine that we've got, Jim?
Okay, let me pour you a little bit of rosé.
right. There we
I
go.
need the white plate.
Oh, okay. I'm
There you go.
supposed to take everything.
There you are.
I didn't read that far down on the script.
Okay, so
There we
Okay, we'll
go.
be right
what we got here, and this is sort of kind of unusual, I think, is that we're pairing the salmon with the rosé. In this case, a big rosé. This is just, and this is our Ava Ray. It's hello, Ava Ray.
The namesake.
This is the Rose of Grenache. Now, what's important about this is I think that we need to understand that this is a wine by intention. In other words, we intended to make this wine from Grenache grapes. It's not a secondary byproduct like a Saunier Rosé. And oh, guess what? What does that Saunier mean? Saunier means blood or bleeding, doesn't it?
Yes. Which
And
you should know a lot about.
yep, yeah, being a nurse. However, not about wine much, but basically, Saunier Rosé is where you take off juice of fully ripe grapes, okay, like Pinot Noir, Zinfandel, and others, and you use those to intensify the the uh, the flavors of the remaining skins and juice.
A little less juice to skin ratio, where
Right,
all the
right,
flavors are
right.
coming out.
So you're making a good red wine, but what you got, you're solving a problem, and you cannot, I don't think, really deal with making a wine from solving a problem.
Right.
And with this, we have made this intentionally. We picked it early when the those beautiful acids are still present, and it's got a little bit of Syrah in it.
You know, and it's really important for rosé because, like he was saying, if you've got a fully ripened Zinfandel at whatever bricks of sugar, 25 plus most likely, so and your acids have plummeted. So if you're making a rosé, the Saunier method out of a Zinfandel, well, you're going to have a big old flabby, uninteresting rosé because it doesn't have the acid, and that's where
You
the
have
real part of the intention of making a rosé.
That's right. Hey, Blaine, how much Syrah in this? 12% Syrah? Okay. And where does it get its name? Well, the Syrah is gently crushed and is gently crushed by a young lady over there. Her name is Ava Ray, and she crushes that Syrah with it. And so we don't get the skin tannins out of it. We just get a little bit of color. Okay. And that's what it's after. And this is
Well, it's absolutely fantastic, and it's you know, so what you're also doing when you're harvesting intentionally for rosé too is that you're also ensuring that you're going to get the delicate flavors out of a wine versus the intense flavors out of the wine. Also, with the gentle crushing, you're not diving in and breaking down that skin contact. And so when you're making an intentional rosé like this, you already have your acid correct. So you don't need to be correcting the acid.
this would be
Hello.
Maggie. Everybody talks to Maggie. Nobody ever sees Maggie. Yay!
Yay, Maggie!
Maggie's making beautiful salsa today.
Okay, so what we've got here is we've got a combination of stuff. Eliza, come here. Tell us about it.
Oh, tell me about what?
About what we got.
Okay. I need to step close to Mike. Hi, Mike. You're Brad.
I could be either.
Okay, that's perfect. I'm sure that's fine. What we have is the beautiful Northwest salmon that Jim brought home from Puget Sound. It has been prepared with our cabin rub, which the recipe is online. There's too many details for me to remember at this point. Served with the beautiful salsa that Maggie prepared, and also my mama's cornbread pudding, which is just one of those kitchen staples with canned goods and boxed goods and lots of butter and sour cream. And then we have on the healthy side, Jim's favorite, broccoli salad with bacon, broccoli bacon. What could be better? Okay, so that's what we've got. And it's paired beautifully with the Ava Ray Rosé. Absolutely. Miss Ava Ray.
Thank you.
Yay!
All right.
You know, I have to say something that Eliza's, we call it corn pudding. Hey, sweetie pie, do they actually call it corn pudding?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jiffy corn pudding if you want the trade.
Or the Jiffy, the famous Jiffy.
This was a recipe out of the early 50s where people were looking for recipes to do, you know, for what to do with canned corn and so it's a recipe using canned corn, cream corn, and Jiffy cake bread.
I'm going in for that first before the salmon. Yeah, I've got to get some of that. All right.
Mm. Oh.
Okay, what do you think?
It's fantastic. I hope everybody made this out there. Seriously, please comment and let us know. That is awesome.
Yeah, be sure and let you know those of you who made this. I mean, this is really,
Oh,
it's
wow.
really good.
And goes fantastic with rosé.
Mhm. And you
Um,
know something, Brad? I know something. You know, the bottles were on our table a little while before we came on
Mhm.
camera, and they warmed up a bit.
yes.
I like that.
I know that most Americans love their whites and rosés directly out of the refrigerator, especially on a warmer afternoon like it is for us here today. But as we all know, the colder something is, it retards the flavors and it retards the aromatics. So what I like about this is that it's got this fuller aromatic body to it. It's got this more richer palate, and especially for a rosé, you can see this is classic rosé. It has this beautiful light flamingo color that's absolutely fantastic, and of course, zero residual sugar. And it's really allowing the wine to speak for itself, and it is very nice. I would say this is probably if the refrigerator was 40-ish,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
somewhere in that range.
But I just
Yeah.
commenting on that is that it brings out a fullness in the wine. I think they're just flavorful. You like that? These are two old recipes.
And the bacon and broccoli. I love bacon. I make bacon. I smoke bacon. I've never had bacon and broccoli. This is absolutely fantastic. And what really makes it delicious are those beautiful, those are the Bermuda onions, right? Those big chunks of onion going through there.
Yeah.
A light dressing so that the broccoli and the bacon is still real flavorful. I need to see how the rosé goes with the bacon, though. I need to see what that is. Absolutely works. All right, we're 2 for 2. I'm going for the salmon. I know it's actually. I just know it's going to go great with the salmon.
Now, the salsa is a papaya and mango. Excuse me, mango and what else?
There's some kiwi. Looks a little bit of Bermuda onion.
Yep.
Cilantro and probably some sort of vinegar. A little bit of lime for the acidity. Well, I can eat that all day on its own. Thank you. The flavor of the fish, obviously, fresh caught. Absolutely beautiful. And you were saying there was a little bit of there's a little brown sugar in the glaze. But what I'm really liking, and when Jim had this on the barbecue, we noticed it right away. Where was it overnight basically on the marinade?
Yeah. Okay. So how we do it how we make it is we take the salmon and we add the fresh herbs to it, and we wrap it in plastics, and it stays there overnight. And kind of, we call it a marinade, but I don't think it's really that. It's more than
Just to
kind
get
of
the aromatics, the herbs infused with the
and-
salmon.
yeah. And then what we do,
Facial.
a facial, yeah. And so what we do then is the next day,
Mm.
that's an overnight thing. So
Mhm.
this afternoon, Eliza um, uh, took the herbs off. I made my little boat that I put on the tinfoil, and then I put the herbs on that. And as the salmon cooks, it smokes.
Yes.
And it sure made smell real good around here. I got to tell you that.
It did, but it really got those flavors onto the salmon
Now,
as well.
now the cabin rub. This is something that Eliza has put together,
Hmm.
and that we use up at the cabin, her family's cabin up in Washington Sound, and Hartstein Island. Yay! Cheers, Hartstein Island. And it's got brown sugar in it, and a bunch of spices and things, and that's what goes on next. It's a rub.
Okay.
And then we cook it over the grill. And I have you saw my grilling technique where I used racks that turned them.
Well, every other time you're trying to get salmon off the grill, it's gonna, if you cook it right and it's flaky, it's gonna be falling apart. So that was awesome. And I also noticed that you started it with the skin side down, so that you get a good cooking through and allowing the, kind of sacrificing the skin, right?
Yep.
So that the fish can get cooked properly, and then just a quick little sear on top.
Yep.
That was awesome, and I like your fish rack that you had. But I won't be able to drink wine until after I'm done with the fish flip. I think that might end up on the ground at my house. Mm.
It's really easy to do.
We have been known to feed cats.
There you go.
Eliza said we've been known to feed the cats.
Oh my gosh.
However,
Okay, there's just something about the are we calling it Jiffy Cream? What's the Mama's Jiffy corn pudding? Okay. It is a hybrid of creamed corn and cornbread. Like one bite is very cornbready, and I'm getting like even a little bit of honey and some sweetness to it. And then I'm into the creamed corn, and this wine pairs great with all three.
yeah. And my answer is, who doesn't like bacon?
I feel sorry for those folks that don't. My absolute go-to, and then the broccoli there, is our nice little bit of bitterness, almost like our little palate cleanser for all of the rest of the dishes. It's great.
Yeah.
And that nice bit of sweet onion. And I just got my first raisin. I was worried. You told me there was raisins in there, and I just got my first one. Oh, we got cranberries.
Dried cranberries, and the onion actually is Jorge's spring onion from his garden. Beautiful red.
Oh, so fresh and
Yeah.
just
So,
popped out.
Those that didn't hear that, that was the onion in there is a spring onion from one of our workers here, the field workers, Jorge, who does this amazing garden every year.
Oh.
It's spring onion, and
It's perfect. And the bacon's also cooked perfectly too. Good choice on the bacon. Absolutely fantastic. That is really good. The flavor of, the rub and the smoke are all fantastic, but the quality of the fish is what's really standing out to me. There's that great natural salmon flavor, not farmed farmed I'll diet pink salmon that we use. That yes, please. I don't know if I was able to get this last bite down without that.
oh yeah, gotta choke it down there.
Wow. Well, I sure hope that my anti-face steak strips are going to be living up to this meal. I might have to pull out some more stops and JJ's creme brulee. I think I might have to use that as my crutch to fall back on that.
That's what I'm looking forward to, because I like creme brulee.
All right, JJ, we got to make sure that you get that down. We might have to do some extra practicing. Yeah, I know you do. It's fantastic. Mm. Wow. The wine just getting better and better throughout. The acid is also helping. You know, there's the richness of the bacon, there's a fattiness of the bacon. The salmon has those beautiful natural fatty oils, and we don't know exactly what was in the Jiffy cream corn, but the acid
a
is
lot of butter.
there. Well, see, we need that. You need a beautifully high acid wine like this, where sometimes people would have maybe paired a Pinot Noir or something like that with this, and I think that would have been okay, because sometimes Pinot Noir has a nice acid to it. I think this allowed the food to be itself, and the food enhanced this as well.
Yeah.
An excellent choice.
I think it defines the depth of the wine.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's what's important. I mean, a lot of people are thinking of rosés or white wines as being not up to the course.
Right.
And no.
Maybe something you sit
Good
on the
quality.
patio with, and nothing else interesting. Honestly, you needed a very strong wine like this.
Yeah.
To bring this whole meal together.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Good call.
and that richness of the food was helping balance that beautiful intensity that this rosé has.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be finishing the plate. If you have something to say, I can eat some more. I'm just kidding. This is so good. Oh my gosh. And this is gonna. I am making this. I'm making all these recipes. This is in my wheelhouse now, and I'll just say, well, I got this recipe from 2 miles down the street.
Yeah. Actually comes from 800 miles.
Right.
But it's relocated.
We'll give credit where credit's due. This is, and honestly, as a whole, as a meal on it, as itself, really satisfying. I like the different components here.
Yeah,
because after the corn, and then you get a little bite of the salsa, or I guess that's what it'd be called, the the mangoes and the kiwis and the onion. Wow, absolutely fantastic.
Yep. Yeah, the original idea for the mango salsa came from Jude, our tasting room manager, who's now moved on and to a better and better paying job.
Awesome.
And at another winery.
Oh, okay.
And so she's done. We respect her, and she came up with this recipe, which I thought was phenomenal. And then Maggie, it said, I can tweak that.
I could bring that in.
Yeah. And Maggie, added obviously secret herbs and spices, and really brought it home.
Now, with all that being said, too, there's rumors around town that there's someone's been found to take that really important position. Is that true?
Yeah.
Or are we gonna?
Nice young man over here.
Yeah. The other nice young man has been has graciously accepted the position of tasting room manager here.
Oh, that's
Okay.
congratulations,
Yay.
Ozzy. Excellent. For some
So
reason, every time someone claps and says Ozzy, I want to say oi, 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 but it's the wrong one. Sorry. We'll get it right. Mm. Wow. That's absolutely fantastic.
mhm.
Very good.
Mm. You got the one again?
There's a hole in my glass.
Is that what it is?
It
Yeah, I think I
is.
got that.
You know, there is just it's not my fault. You have the little sippy hole there for me to dribble with. Oh
Well,
wow.
the thing is that, as professionals, we're used to pouring a tasting room pour.
Yes, we weren't drinking full glasses of wine. We had a couple ounce pour and
Yeah.
had it 6 times.
Ah,
It's better to inspect with.
okay. Well,
Well, and plus that we can judge the wine on being a little bit warmer now, and if that temperature of the wine is good, or is this a time where we should put it back into the cooler? Being born and raised in Arizona, if we had anything outside, whether it was Christmas or for the 4th of July, I was used to tasting room pours because whether you were having a red glass of wine or a white glass of wine, you didn't want it to be sitting around very often because the ambient temperature was somewhere around 140. And as we all know, the wine needs to be somewhere in the 50-degree range at its worst temperature. So I've always encouraged the short pour for dinners and barbecues, and then that way you can enjoy the wine from maybe icy cold out of a cooler, and then
right on.
in just a few minutes it goes from icy cold to probably perfect, and then a few minutes after that might be a little bit too warm.
Yeah.
So little short pours.
However, we don't live there.
No, we
Um,
don't. Although we're
you know,
supposed to be getting to Arizona hot this next week.
well, no, not really.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
we've been having why we live here weather the last week.
Yes.
People have been complaining that it's been too cold at 82 degrees. It's like, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, and we're now entering our ripening weather. And the ripening weather is curious, but it's also us.
Right.
Okay. It's what Alexander Valley is and how it works. Basically, our weather pattern goes warmer, cooler, warmer, cooler, warmer, cooler, that kind of thing. And that is what stretches out the growing season and allows our grapes to fully ripen.
Yes.
So they have a lot of flavors.
And ripen properly, actually. It needs to have the extended growing season. If these grapes were closer to the Central Valley, where it was just hot from January, and then they ripened, they are ripe grapes, by now.
That is a little, see that guy?
What do we got?
That's a leaf hopper there.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
That's a big guy. That's a good guy. It's just, he's a buffalo, what we call a buffalo, because he has a little hump on him like a buffalo.
There we go. All right. Hopefully you guys can see that. If JJ could, no, just kidding.
Zero in on
that.
We're eating outside.
And he didn't eat much.
No.
He didn't eat very much. It's fine. But it's that extension where we'll have a week of hot, a week of cool, but it still gets warm in the afternoon, cool at night. Letting the sugars ripen, and then letting it get cold where the sugars go back in. All of those things are what make the Alexander Valley, it is one of the most special growing regions on the planet.
Yes.
Why the wines are so fantastic. Then we have the mix of our soils from the volcanic. Thank you very much for Geyser Peak for giving us some volcanic soil. And then we've got the nice mix of valley floor soils.
But more than
really
that,
nice.
it's now what time is this?
I
Like
think it's 5
5 o'clock. This is, you feel that breeze coming out of it?
There's a nice cool breeze coming right
This
up
is
out
what
of the
we
valley.
call the air conditioning. Okay,
Yes.
and every night about between 4 and 6 in the evening, the south winds begin to blow.
Yes.
Okay, and we know we're going to be cooling off, and it's what I call the air conditioning for us, and that's what makes it pretty special.
It really
You know,
is.
and people ask me all the time, "Well, how do you know what the weather's going to be?" Pay attention. You put your nose outside at 5 o'clock. Look which way the wind is blowing. If it's blowing out of the south, colder.
Right.
If it's blowing out of the north, warmer.
Yep.
Because the warm air masses are coming down. And so that's what you do. And it's pretty simple.
Yeah, because the Russian River cuts through our mountains just south of us here. And so if the Russian River is allowing our fog bank to roll, or our cool air to roll up the Russian River, hitting the backside of the Mayacamas, and then shooting straight up Alexander Valley. And that's when we know we're going to have a nice cool night.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if it's not here by 6, we know it's not gonna be too cold. No sweatshirts in the morning.
Yep.
But that's the other thing. Yeah, sweatshirts in the morning and t-shirts by the afternoon, and then sweatshirts again.
Yep.
Wow, that was spectacular.
Very nice.
I'm getting a couple more bites
Okay,
of this.
you get your another bites. I need to get that last bit of bacon.
Hello? I'd have died. We'll try this again. I'll talk over towards Jim a little bit. Hang on a second, guys.
That hand was JJ. Thank you, JJ. Okay. You know, technical staff, Alex.
On it right there,
You know,
watching,
By
making
the way,
sure.
any questions? Talk to Alex.
I'm going to be clearing your plates.
What is this? Wow, we've got a celebrity chef is rolling in.
Chefing, I'm just cleaning.
Hey, give the
Lovely server.
server. There you go. Server. Hi,
wow.
everyone.
Thanks, Danny. That was
Welcome.
Okay.
see ya.
We have our wine family here tonight, and we have Blake and hubby and hangers on. I was going to say groupies, but it's not quite right. But so we're having a nice outdoor get together.
Oh, this is fantastic. And something we haven't had an opportunity to do much of lately. So it really feels good to have our friends and family around us,
Right.
instead of it just being
And-
us
and we're
enjoying all the great
we're,
food.
We're open up. We're opening up,
Yes.
and the thing is that I didn't realize how much my life depended upon the winery. So when things got quiet, we got shut down. It's kind of like on Sundays I'm closed.
Right.
Okay, and I appreciate the silence. I appreciate everything about it. It's my time alone. Well, when every day is a Sunday,
It was rough.
it gets tough.
It was rough for me as well.
Mhm.
Going from the winery and then zipping down to the tasting room and making sure there was always, a crowd there, somebody to say hello to. And we just didn't have that for a
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
And for
But
us,
now it's happening.
wine is a social thing, and we love to share.
Okay.
Speaking of sharing,
Okay.
what's
so
next?
let's get into the.
Oh, what's this? Danny's
All right,
Danny's
I'm
back
back.
already. This is
I
fantastic.
can't get enough screen time.
All right.
So here we have some dessert for you. And I was just the messenger. I'm actually not quite sure what I am serving, but hey, I'm sure we'll hear. What is it? Zin chocolate cake. All right.
Okay. This is a dense chocolate cake
Thanks.
that Eliza makes up, and it's you wouldn't be thinking that this big rich Vapiano Zin would be going with dessert, but it does. And how it does is this: Eliza makes this thing up, and instead of adding liquid,
Okay.
she adds wine.
Okay. So it's a dense chocolate cake recipe to begin with.
Yep.
And then the little bit of liquid that would have been added in was exchanged with wine.
Yeah.
Mm. Well, that sounds like that'll work pretty good.
It does.
Now, is this the Fabiano, or is this Zinfandel get some of the muscat? Is this the one,
No.
or is it the other? Is
No.
it your other one?
What this is, this comes from Alan Popiano's vineyard, which is just a wonderful step back in years. I remember my first experience. He's got this driveway that's probably about 5 miles dirt, 5 miles long over this way. And his place is the bottomland. The Russian River runs around it 3 places. 3
Wow.
sides of his vineyard is around the Russian River. And his family's been farming it with horses. And I go up there, my first experience going up there, and I'm going this dirt road. It's like, oh man, am I ever going to get to into this road, right? And so I'm there, and off to my right is a barn. And I'm looking and he's got horse collars hanging up there. That was the horse barn.
He was still
No, he wasn't farming then.
all right.
But the fact is that his family had, that
Wow.
his father had done it.
Tilled that land with horses,
Yeah.
planted grapes,
Yeah.
and then farmed with horses.
And his
Wow.
family had. And it's like, oh man, I stepped into the next century, or the past century. And Eliza's done such a wonderful job with putting her dense chocolate cake recipe together with the wine.
Well, I can just smell this wine all day. To me, this really says Russian River. To me, it presented itself as a cooler climate Zinfandel, versus our Alexander Valley or Dry Creek, and so it's not quite as jammy, but the aromatics in this wine are just spectacular. A berry collection, a berry basket full, where sometimes a lot of Dry Creek can be a bright strawberry or a really intense cherry. This one has some rich character just in the nose, and I haven't even gotten to the flavor yet.
Yeah, wait till you taste it with that cake.
That to me just screams a little bit cooler climate Zinfandel. I love it.
Yep.
But this is the type of Zen I grew up with. Before Dry Creek got its name, in the mid 90s, early 90s, as the warmer Zinfandel, Russian River is where most of the Zinfandel that I could get in Arizona came from. So I grew up with the cooler climate Zins, and that's the style that I really enjoy. Mm. Some nice spices and maybe some clove in the cake. Mm. All right. It's a dense chocolate cake, but there's
no sweetness there.
Yeah, it's not just laying down on my palate.
Yeah, and with the wine has such a nice rich characteristic to it that
actually the spiciness of the Zinfandel really is elevated with the cake. Absolutely delicious. I'm just going for some whipping cream.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. And again, judicial with the sugar and whipping cream, so that doesn't end up then overbearing with adding too much sugar to the whole thing.
We really do like to make our whipped cream fresh on the spot.
Everything about this cake is fantastic. The sweetness balance is perfect, and what's nice is that the cake really is accentuating the Zinfandel.
Yeah. And not real sweet.
No.
Dessert. And-
Neither. The Zinfandel is not a sweet Zinfandel, and the dessert's not sweet. And so you have this wonderful, you're getting your chocolatey
Mhm.
flavors that you're enjoying, but there's nothing screaming sugar.
But you know, I often find that you know that when you get a wine that is sort of tannic
Mhm.
and ripey, that it really, for me, does not do well against sweet wine.
Right.
Okay. And sweet foods. I mean, not wine, sweet foods. And there's this kind of thing that happens.
Yep.
This ain't bad.
No, it's perfect. And you know, especially after that wonderful big meal, right? We had the beautiful appetizers, and we've had all of the courses and the salmon. To me, you know, getting to the end of the dessert, typically I'll skip the dessert and just have another have a nice glass of wine. But this is
Yeah.
a dessert that I want to have around because it's actually it's feeling light to me since it isn't so sweet. It's got
Yep.
a nice lightness to it.
It does.
And then
And
the pairing's
and then
fantastic
Eliza substituted the fluids for the wine.
for the wine. And so there's already some wine in here. And it was it the same wine, or did you use
Same
a
wine,
different
yeah.
same wine? I just can't stop smelling this wine. Absolutely fantastic. Wow. Yeah, it's going both ways with the spiciness. The rich, the wonderful fruit, the strawberries, the blackberries, the berry content in this wine. When you're going back, so if it was the cake first and the wine, then the wine, then the cake. So then after the wine, the cake, it really brings out that really nice chocolate and spice.
Mhm. Yep.
I love it. Oh my God. I've lost my way with my diet. I'm having the best weekend ever. This is great. Oh wow. All night long.
Sweetie pie. What about the pie? What about the cake?
The cake.
Yep.
Is the Zinfandel cake.
Give us your secrets.
Oh, well, it has the Fopiano Zin in, and it's not a kid's birthday cake. It does not completely bake out. In fact, the most
Oh.
fun, I think, was licking the batters and the beaters. The batter bowl and the beaters. Yay! Yay! Yes. Where is Fabiano? Jim, where's Fabiano Vineyard? It's at the north end of Healdsburg Avenue and then east towards the river. Right?
It's actually in one. You know, if you're going to say that, no, we are our vineyard. No, I can't do that. I gotta answer the long question, the long answer.
That's what we do.
That's what we do. That's what I do. You know, remember Jim's rule number 3 of wine tasting, and the most important rule is never ask Jim a question unless expecting a 20-minute answer.
Yes.
Okay.
If you want the short answer, it's not coming. Then the short answer is the 20-minute answer.
That's right. So, you know,
So right
They-
outside of Healdsburg, then?
they're actually just north of Healdsburg.
Okay.
Um, do you know where Pasalaca Road is?
Yes. So so not as far north of Healdsburg as Alexander Valley Road,
That's right.
but so somewhere right after Simi as you're heading out
Yes,
there, then
Little
you'll zip back.
that's right.
You'll
And-
turn back to the east.
Yeah. You bet. And that's the thing, is that they're a little bit north, and
So maybe behind Jordan, if anybody knows where
No.
Jordan's at, between Jordan and Stuhlmuller,
yes,
sort of
In that valley.
in that valley
That valley
behind
behind.
Jordan, and then behind Stuhlmuller.
okay. We didn't do a good descriptive of where it is, but other than
It's
it's
south
really,
of us by 10 miles.
yeah, but more than that,
And on the
in a
river,
place
obviously.
you can't get to. It's
Yeah.
just like,
It's really hard to get to. You're back out into the wilderness, and then but the river zigzags along before it goes around the mountain.
but the really cool part of that is that is way back there, way back in our history, horse farming, and you know, his dad planted this vineyard in '63, I think.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's just fantastic.
Yep.
63. Okay.
I had just graduated from high school. You were barely a fledgling.
I was being thought about. Maybe.
Oh,
Sorry.
well,
yeah,
never mind.
I know. Sorry about that. But you know, I look a little older. Like I might have been around here longer than that. Mm. Oh my gosh, this is fantastic. I do want to remind everybody, just if you tuned in late, all of my cooking videos are going to be up by Friday, probably by noon on Friday afternoon. Definitely tune in and check out the shrimp recipe, because some people were concerned about doing it in the oven. Others were concerned with how thick the bacon was. So I'm actually gonna, when I produce the video this week, we're gonna do the shrimp 3 different ways. So if you wanted to do everything on the grill,
I had an idea. I know,
yes.
you know, and it's your idea. And oh no, I know
Uh-oh.
that's terrible.
There's where things went south.
No, I actually just thought about that, and that is, you know, the real problem with, you know, cooking two dissimilar foods
Mhm.
like bacon and shrimp is that they both require different cooking times.
Yes.
Okay, and one of the things that I was thinking about was when you were talking about this problem earlier is, you know, you got me hooked on, yeah, prosciutto,
Yes.
crispy prosciutto.
Apparently, okay, Jim does this to me every time. I know exactly where this is going. So I need to do prosciutto wrapped shrimp. Is that what you're thinking? Is this where we're going?
Yes.
Okay. The video is going to include prosciutto wrapped shrimp, which
Okay.
is actually a fantastic idea. Done deal. I'm all in. That actually sort of fits our little wine country theme that we have going on too.
Okay. Okay, Leanne.
Thanks.
Thank you, Leanne.
Thank you, Leanne. All right. So my shrimp cooking video is going to be a little bit longer than I suspected. So we are going to bake the shrimp like I have in the recipe, but we're going to grill the shrimp. And now we're going to not only have thick bacon, thin bacon, but we're going to throw the prosciutto in as well. And well, first of all, prosciutto's already it's
Cooked.
It's cooked. All we want to do is crisp it up
Exactly.
and add some salt and some flavor.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's my, you know, that guy has got me addicted to. Okay.
Crispy prosciutto. Oh man. Hey, if you've never, all right, all right, and I'll also do a crispy prosciutto video, which will take us like 3.5 seconds. But seriously, put your prosciutto on a pan,
Yeah.
put it in the oven, give it 5 minutes on whatever temperature you think is nice, and you end up with salty, crispy goodness that you just can't. What did I put that on? What recipe was that?
I don't know, but it's
Oh,
like
mac and cheese.
no, it was there was a
no,
We put it on our mac and cheese.
we exactly, Eliza. We
Yep.
we copped you
what
and
was
put
what was the dang thing?
it was the
Ah.
scallops.
Did
Yes,
the scallops have crispy prosciutto? Yes,
did.
it was. Eliza, we're having so much fun. We're going to talk for another half an hour, darling. It's going to be fantastic.
We got dishes to do.
This dish is an easy one. I'll lick it clean. Apparently, we need to wrap things up for you guys. But this is fantastic. We've got the next one's coming in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
It's going to be over at my house. We're going to have a lot of fun there.
Yep.
Apparently, I have 10 more recipes to cook before we get there. Thank you, Jim. But actually, you know what?
Eliza.
Great idea. We're going to absolutely do that. We'll add prosciutto to the mix on that. And those videos will be coming out on Friday, and then we'll see you all in a couple of weeks. This has been fantastic, and I'm not kidding. Everybody, you did a great job. The mango salsa, Liza with her head. Oh, like your salmon. Okay, come on, the salmon, fully delicious. Bacon, broccoli.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong. Ozzy, you did hold the heat back on that jerk chicken, but the flavor was all still there. That was absolutely fantastic.
you,
Great
Ozzy.
job, everybody. And it's just fun to be with our friends and family again. Cheers,
Yay.
everybody. I hope you guys brought your friends and family in too, and are having as much fun as we are, because this has been a great time. Thanks a lot, Jim.
Thank you.
Sure appreciate it.